Welcome to the After Hours Lounge on 1620 The Zone, the 1620 The Zone app, and 1620thezone.com. When 6A to 6P isn't enough, the boys have you covered. Here's Jimmy Allen.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome inside the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you're looking for the ideal college experience this fall, head over to bellevue.edu, register for classes, and become a Bruin tonight. No classes on Friday. The majority of your schooling done online. Check out bellevue.edu while you listen to the After Hours Lounge, which is a great loaded show for you tonight. As Nebraska fans, do we care about Anthony Colandrea versus Kenny Minchey? We'll debate at the top of the hour. Also, the top 5 most intriguing Huskers heading into fall camp. I didn't do this, Dan, as the guys that mean the most, but the most intriguing storylines around them. I'm really excited to dive into that at 6:15. Brian McIntyre, the head trainer for Terrence Crawford, along with several other very successful boxers, is going to join us at 6:30. Good to catch up with Bo Mack tonight and get his thoughts coming off of winning the WBO Trainer of the Year yet again. We'll get his thoughts on that. We'll get his thoughts on, is Terrence Crawford really retired? We'll ask him that at 6:30. 6:45, we'll find out what's trending on social media. We'll buy or sell. And tonight is a Thursday, so it is time for Something or Nothing with 5 great topics where we ask if there's a little bit of smoke to the fire in certain sports topics. Then Chris Phillips, our good friend from SEC Unfiltered, joins us to talk about the Southeastern Conference's football schedule coming up. And as always, we wrap up the show with our closing arguments of the night. 402-951-1620 is how you can get a hold of the show. You can follow us at After Hours 1620 on Twitter or Facebook as well. Dan, I want to give you a little bit of insight to how my day has gone up until this point.
Yes, please.
Because we've been around it. We've been to 2. I guess I've been to 2. I've been to 2 major fights that involve Terrence Crawford and the hoopla that goes into fight week. Brian McIntyre has asked me to text him or call him every 45 minutes to remind him about when he's going to be on the air tonight. So Bo Mack will be here with us tonight. We're excited about that, to get his thoughts on everything going on. He's got a fight. He's actually out in LA right now, and he's got a fight this weekend for a guy he's training in Charles Harris. So we'll get his thoughts on that upcoming fight and the pay-per-view, as well as his career in the corner for Terrence Crawford as well. But before we get there, we've got to talk about something I've been a little surprised nobody has been talking a ton about. And it's the Anthony Colandrea versus Kenny Minchey conversation. Because if anything, this fan base doesn't have a problem being petty. And I'm here for it. We talked about the pettiness last night with the women's Major League Soccer scandal and New Balance and all that last night. So everybody knows my openness to the level of pettiness. But it really surprises me how this fan base just seemingly moved on from Kenny Minchey and didn't really seem to have a ton of ill will towards him after the fact that he committed to Nebraska and then flipped his commitment. Now, obviously, a lot of that is due to the fact that Anthony Colandrea signed very fast after that, and Nebraska had its guy. There wasn't a whole lot of time to dwell on it, and you can't miss somebody if they don't go away, and Kenny Minchey was never here to go away in the first place. So, but I will be interested to see, and obviously it matters how it plays out for both of these guys, but what Nebraska fan base reaction would be if, as this season goes along, Kenny Minchey seems further ahead than Anthony Colandrea, and vice versa. But let's be honest, around these parts of the country, negativity makes the voices a little bit louder than the positive ones do. But if we get to week 5 and it feels like Anthony Colandrea looks a whole lot more like the guy that was playing in Virginia than he does the guy at UNLV, and Kenny Minchey, with a couple of pretty good guys coaching him in the quarterback position, looks like a guy that could compete for all SEC level talent or all SEC level honors.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be some very upset people around here, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, of course. So when you sent this to me earlier today to let me know what we were going to be talking about tonight, I was like, I feel like the answer is yes, because all I've seen on Twitter, and again, the negative is always more amplified than the positive, is the fact that people are really salty about the fact that we didn't get Kenny Minchey, and they see Anthony Colandrea as the second place runner-up kind of prize.
Kind of hard to not look at it that way, considering the coaching staff offered one guy first, right?
Yeah, but that's how that works. I don't understand why people are so worked up about it. When you get denied by one girl, you don't just say,
That's probably a little bit
there
to do
goes
with it.
dating for the rest of my life.
There's
I'm
some
done with
people that look at it that
I'm
way.
done with that now. None more of this for me, thank you. No, you go back out there and you say, I have to find someone new because I can't let TJ Lateef play quarterback.
Well, I wonder how much of it is that these guys have a very similar skill set as well. And the knock around the Kenny Minchey, I don't want to call it signing, but commitment was, can we use a backup at Notre Dame? Anthony Colandrea started a lot of football games, which does not hurt the case for your argument about being happier about the guy that Nebraska ended up landing. And that might be why this conversation is happening the way it is too, right? Like it may be a little bit that people feel better about a guy that started some major college level football, and it was also the
Mountain
Mountain West Player of the Year and played ACC level football. I'll hear that argument, but I don't. We've got to get there, right? I mean, this is all hypothetical,
Of course.
but when you got a guy decommitting from your school and going to not a Big Ten school, but essentially the same level, and saying that the reason I chose, or it was a no-brainer for me to come to Kentucky over Nebraska, was because there's not a better football or a better quarterback coach in the country than the two guys in Lexington. Listen, Will Stein has obviously had a ton of success as a coordinator at Oregon, but he's never been a head coach. And I was really surprised. Like, has Dana Holgerson's track record over the last 4 to 6 years been what it was when he was with Oklahoma State and his time at West Virginia? No, absolutely not. But it's not like you got a bunch of slouches that have been turned out by Dana Holgerson as well. Now, there's the Dylan Raiola of it all at Nebraska, and can you be turned into a high profile level quarterback at Nebraska? And whether people want to admit that, that's a stigma that's out there right now. But you've been turned down by this guy and Kenny Minchey, who agreed to come here and then left in no time at all before he even arrived on campus. And it kind of just felt like Nebraska fans just swept it under the rug and said, okay, oh, well, here we go. We're on to the next guy. And I believe there's going to be a small portion of the fan base that is going to be stat searching on Saturdays for both of these quarterbacks and say, well, we could have had, or thank God we didn't get, or what have you. But the other side of that is it just kind of feels like everybody is in wait and see mode, not only about this team, but Trey Taylor as well. And
Yeah.
I think there's a large majority of the fan base that's like, we don't care who the quarterback is this year. And we just need to get to next year and just win enough for this recruiting class to stay together. And then we'll start paying attention again in 2027. Now, there's a lot of reasons behind that. A, you have a pretty tough schedule to slide through this season. But I think a lot of people feel that essentially the roster you have right now is on a rental basis, because if Trey Taylor shows out at Millard South this year, much like Jet Tamala did a year ago, but also much like he did in his junior season, I mean, let's not forget, guy scored 7 touchdowns in a single football game.
Yep.
And Millard South's probably going to be pretty good again this year. If it looks anything like that this season, and Nebraska's able to put some wins together, and Rob Orich figures this defense out, I'm here to tell you that the 27 class is nowhere near being finished up, despite the number of guys that are in it, because that is going to attract a lot of eyes, specifically if Nebraska starts winning and Trey Taylor plays like we know Trey Taylor can. It's going to get really interesting around here.
Yeah, I want to remind Husker fans, sometimes, I am seen on this show as the delusional one, the one who always says, we're going to be 10-2.
You're delusional. I'm a conspiracy theorist.
We're going to be one of the greatest teams in college football this year. But I just want to remind everyone, a motto that I like to live by when it comes to Nebraska football is the past is history, the future is a mystery, and the present's a gift. And right now we have to live in the present. Anthony Colandrea is the quarterback of this football team. Deal with it.
Yeah. And
it's going to be perfectly fine. I don't see a reason why he's going to be terrible, and I don't see a reason why he's going to be a world beater
until he was the conference player of the year in his respective conference last season.
And until I see him on Saturday in that scarlet and cream, I'm not gonna pass any judgments on Anthony Calandria.
Well,
Probably
great.
not until week 4.
Greg, so I'm going to pass some judgments on 5 other Huskers when we come back on the other side
That's
of the break.
the point of the show.
Our top 5 intriguing Huskers heading into fall camp is what we're going to give you when we come back. If you missed this segment, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. Tonight is brought to you by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. You don't stay in business for 5 decades by accident. Jerry Ryan has been dressing the best dressed grooms throughout the Omaha area for 50 years. How do they do it? They give you a tailored experience where you come in, they make you feel like the most important guy in the entire store and make sure that you're ready for your big day. If the biggest day of your life is coming up, maybe they're one of those weirdos that's getting married on a Husker football Saturday. I'll hold that against you. Jerry Ryan will not. They'll make sure that you and your groomsmen are dressed to the nines. Head over to Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Make sure you tell them that After Hours sent you tonight. We'll be right back. Top 5 most intriguing Huskers heading into fall camp right here on 1620 The Zone.
Weather from KETV Newswatch 7 is brought to you on 1620 The Zone by Certified Transmission.
Partly cloudy, a bit hot into the evening with the temperatures near 90. Could be a very isolated shower. Mostly clear tonight, drops back to around 72 for the low, and then mostly sunny and hot for Friday with a high near 94. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV News Watch 7.
Wedding season's here, and Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear has been trusted for over 50 years to help you look your best. Whether you're the groom or part of the wedding party, Jerry Ryan can outfit every man in the wedding from head to toe. From custom suits and sport coats to dress shirts, shoes, and accessories, their experienced team will help make sure everyone looks their absolute best on the big day. Visit Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear at 78th and Dodge today, where Omaha's best-dressed men have shopped for over 50 years.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Are you ready to put your business in the starting lineup? Whether you need eye-catching storefront signage, bold seasonal window graphics, or yard signs for your summer campaign, Signovation is your MVP. At Signovation, your brand shows up and wins. From lighting up the Omaha night sky with your logo, to making sure your message jumps out of the grass and grabs your ideal customer's attention, we've got you covered. Don't sit on the bench. Get in the game. Visit SignovationOmaha.com today.
The weather's warming up, meaning ants, wasps, and termites are teaming up to invade your home. It's time to call in a better team. At Recon Pest Services, we stop the bugs before they take over. But our commitment doesn't stop at your front door. We care for your property like it's our own because our community is our family. We're dedicated to making Omaha better by supporting local youth sports, events, and community causes. Partner with a pest control company that truly cares. Visit ReconPestServices.com today and stay protected all season long.
Mornings at Early Bird have always been pretty great, and now they just got better. Come in from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. and grab your favorites for just $9.99, like the AM pot pie, biscuits and gravy, or the Early Bird with 2 eggs, meat, hash browns, and toast. Talk about the perfect way to start your day without breaking the bank. Oh, and there's Flocktail Hour. From 12:30 to 2:30, get 50% off all cocktails every day. Breakfast, brunch, or a midday pick-me-up. Early Bird. Not your everyday brunch, every day.
The time between Memorial Day and Labor Day is known as the 100 Deadliest Days. It accounts for nearly 1/3 of Nebraska's traffic deaths. Sadly, 58 people lost their lives on Nebraskan roads during this time last year. Your children, significant others, parents, pets, and friends matter to you. Drive like they matter. Always wear your seatbelt, keep your eyes on the road, and put your phone away. Don't let a crash take you away from their lives. Brought to you by the Nebraska chapter of the National Safety Council and the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Looking for a checking account that's quick, easy? With Lincoln Federal Savings Bank, you can open an account online in minutes. We offer 13 locations across Nebraska, including Omaha, Blair, and Fremont. Visit LincolnFed.com today to open your account, or stop by one of our local branches. Modern banking trusted by Nebraskans. Lincoln Federal Savings Bank. Member FDIC.
Personal banking like you remember.
There's only one Ozempic.
Hello, I'm Ozempic. Because this ad is 30 seconds, I can't get into everything I'm FDA approved to do, so I'm just going to play my jingle again. But first, ask your doctor about which FDA approved uses of me, the Ozempic pen, may be right for you. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and learn more about Ozempic semaglutide injection, 2 milligrams. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA approved Ozempic. Now here's that jingle again.
There's only one Ozempic.
Free backpacks and free lunch while supplies last at Goodwill's Back to School Fair, July 25th from 9 to noon at 72nd and Ames. Enjoy kids' activities, gift card giveaways, and $1.99 sale racks. Learn more at goodwillomaha.org.
You are listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
.617 on a Thursday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you're looking for the ideal college experience this fall, head over to bellevue.edu and register for classes tonight. Shout out to J-Man and Captain in the night shift tonight. J-Man, thanks for letting us know we're having the audio issues. Thank you to everybody that is joining us and punching in for the night shift. You can talk about anything we're talking about at After Hours 1620 on Twitter or on YouTube and our live stream on 1620 The Zone TV. Dan, I wanted to talk about this list because I don't know if we've had more storylines about individuals rather than the team to this degree for a Nebraska football program in a long, long time. And I listed the top 5 most intriguing Huskers and their stories heading into fall camp. And I left Anthony Calandri off this list because I think it goes without saying. I mean, the quarterback that hasn't played here is clearly the most intriguing guy. So
that would be very unfair of you.
He's honorable mention 1A in this conversation. But I'm going to start at number 5. And this is a guy that I think a lot of Nebraska fans wanted to see more of last year. It's Cade Petchak. I wanted this list to be who's the most important, but the most intriguing. And when he was out there, he made some impact plays in certain games. There were certain games where he disappeared too. And he feels like one of those guys that has the ability to flip a switch when the red light comes on. Now, can he do it more consistently? Does a 4-man front help him? Does a Williams Wineria, Cam Lenhart, a Riley Van Poppel all taking a step forward with him this year come a long way? And obviously there's going to be some other pretty important pieces along that line. But those are guys that I think fit into that we need you to take a step forward from where you were a year ago category. And not only myself, but I think a lot of Nebraska fans want to see more of Cade Petchak next year.
Yeah, for me, number 5 was pretty easily Andrew Marshall.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Because, that was the sort of staple of the defense last year was
secondary.
You're not really going to be able to pass the ball against us all that well. The secondary was pretty good. And I feel like someone's going to have to step up and be the leader of that secondary this year. And I think that, heavy brass ring is on Andrew Marshall's neck to step up and to be that guy.
He's going to Big Ten Media Days for a reason, right? My number 4 is Elijah Pritchett. Honestly, I think if you probably put the whole group of the offensive line here in this spot, but Pritchett specifically is here because of the false start issues, the preseason praise, and everything in between that came along with it. He's for sure fitting the bill on the depth chart as far as the NFL tackle, what you're supposed to look like category. But can he bring that consistently to the field this year? And that's going to be one of the questions all season long if he can't. I think the best thing that can happen for Elijah Pritchett is he doesn't get mentioned all season by anybody in this room or in a newspaper or in a talking head show.
That'd be the best of the best. That's what everyone always wants to hear about your offensive line.
Living up to his bill, yeah.
And for me, number 4 is Riley Van Poppel. Yeah. I feel like we've kind of peeked over the hill a couple times with him, and we've said, I can see the valley on the other side. I can see the valley of good faith of what he can actually do. And then we slowly have to roll back down the hill and no longer be able to see that valley. This year has to be the year where I think Riley Van Poppel fully shows up, fully shows us who he is, and plays a key piece on this defense.
See, I was going to have him on my list, but honestly, the Owen Stoudemire of it all is the reason I don't. Because he was kind of brought in to kind of fill that gap a little bit, but I think they're going to be interchangeable. I think they're both going to be pretty important pieces. Number 3, I have Isaiah Mosey, excuse me. what does year 2 look like of him playing running back? I mean, honestly, I would have expected him to maybe move back to wide receiver after last season. The depth chart really doesn't allow him to do that. But can he take another step forward? I mean, we kind of expected him to be in that kind of scat back role a year ago, and he wasn't. So is the thought process around him to continue to be a downhill runner? And I'll be surprised to see how that works out. And I think that's absolutely very intriguing this season. What do you got, Dan?
So mine was actually Jamal Rule. Where does he fit in? Where can he be fit in at running back? Because by far, he is the youngest person on this roster.
Yeah.
In that running back room. And if I'm led to believe the words of this coaching staff, they're all extremely high on him. Is he going to get the start? Is he going to be the 1B kind of guy? It's so confusing when you have a lot of good options in front of him, but he seems to be the best option as we stand right now.
Yeah.
Without having seen the other guy that they just brought in.
Listen, I know I just had a running back at number 3, but this is why I have Jamal Rule at number 2 too. He's clearly the most interesting player coming out of the spring. The Mekhi Nelson situation still makes it interesting. Who knows if he's going to be welcome back to Lincoln or not? And if he is or isn't, does that affect Jamal Rule's position at all? Because it kind of felt like coming out of the spring, I don't know if he had necessarily won the running back job, but he definitely made threw his name into the equation as a guy that you should expect to see significant playing time. Now, I want to caveat that with, we've seen it happen in the spring where guys have looked like they've emerged as the number 1 at their position. You don't see them in all fall. That's not going to be the case with Jamal Rule this year. I can tell you that much. Who do you have at number 2?
My number 2 is Quasi Gilmer. I want to see what this guy looks like in that wide receiver rotation, because out of all of the new blood, I think he's the one that's going to sort of put a little bit of a fire underneath everyone else's rear end, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
Because if he starts playing really well, I think that's going to, be the tide that raises all ships in that wide receiver room.
Yeah, and the reason that I don't hate this, Dan, is how many times over the last 2 years, 3 years have we had the conversation about, well, they brought this guy in for the transfer portal, and he's got to be the number 1 wide receiver because he looks like this, or he accomplished that at his previous school, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's not the case this year. I mean, yeah, obviously Isaiah Hunter was in that conversation a year ago, but now you know what he looks like for a year in Dana Holgerson's system. And he's also felt like maybe the number 1 wide receiver by the end of the year last year, despite Dane Key. My number 1, if you've been listening to this show for a long time, is absolutely no surprise to anybody. It's Quinn Clark. You got a guy who is definitely one of those dudes you want getting off the bus first, playing wide receiver, 6'5", probably closer to 6'6". He glides when he runs, and he's just a guy that every time he was out on the field felt like he made plays when they got him the ball. And to me, I think he's just a guy, if he's, and this is no inside baseball or anything, if he's maybe struggling in practice or isn't catching up to the playbook or just wasn't an upperclassman a year ago, whatever the reasons may be that he wasn't on the field, kind of feels like he's one of those dudes you just got to let him get out there and figure it out when the red light comes on.
Yeah, and my number 1 is Tree Babalade, just simply because of the fact that
great name.
Yes, love the fact that we lose Ryan Kalkbrenner and Creighton, and we still get a big tree man that we can talk about. That's always extremely important to me.
Nebraska fans love that comparison, by the way.
And I would assume very important to Josh Hodson as well. But I just want to see how this guy is going to get sort of slated in on this offensive line.
Oh, he's starting. I'm gonna let you know that right now. He's starting.
100%.
Yeah.
But I think there's an interesting dynamic on this offensive line right now where this is the most comfortable that I've felt with a starting 5 and a backup.
Feels weird, right?
5 in a long time. And I don't.
You know why? It's cheap weight. You know why you feel.
Yeah.
Like we keep saying that. I've said it several times. Like I feel really good about this group, and I don't know why. It's the talent combined with the coaching,
and it's just the fact that I don't have any questions that I'm like, oh, if something happens, what's gonna if Tree goes down, who's gonna be there? Well, you still have Gunnar Gatula, and you still have a bunch of guys like Ashton Murphy's a sophomore, but I have a feeling that he could slate in on this offensive line at any point in time if someone goes down.
We got to get to Brian McIntyre on the other side of the break. Bo-Mac's going to catch up with us.
I heard that.
Talk some boxing. If you missed our segment tonight, our top 5 most intriguing hustlers, check it out on our radio replay
Is your
page.
car making weird noises? Don't wait until a small issue turns into a big repair bill. Take it to Mad Hatter Auto Repair, where they take the madness out of auto repair. From oil changes and brakes to full diagnostics, their expert team gets you back on the road fast and without breaking the bank. Honest, reliable, local. That's the Mad Hatter difference. Follow the Little White Rabbit to 140th and West Center Road in Omaha or 34th and West Broadway in Council Bluffs. Mad Hatter Auto Repair, where your car gets treated right.
The real game changer in college athletics, it's coaches. And at Bellevue University, there is an experienced team of coaches who know you both as an athlete and as a person. Plus, there are student coach advisors who are there to provide individualized academic support every step of the way as you progress towards your degree. At Bellevue University, you're not just another athlete. You belong. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
At Timber, they don't just give you a place to go for lunch or dinner. They give you an experience from their bold, smoky flavors prepared in the open concept kitchen where you get to watch the magic happen to the relaxing umbrella-shaded patio. There's something for everyone at Timber. Join them for brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 to 2, plus happy hour from 2 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday and 2 to close on Sunday. Timberwood Fire Bistro in the heart of Omaha at 84th and Pacific.
When it comes to protecting your home, Jay Stennett Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. Water, wind, and hail can wreak havoc on the exterior of your home. If your home is damaged, let Jay Stennett Contracting come out for a no-obligation inspection. If repairs are needed, they will help you through every step of the process. When you need an honest assessment, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Host Coffee stands as the vibrant heart of every break room, offering the unique fusion of traditional quality and modern flair. We're not just your coffee provider, we're the center of memorable workplace moments. Call Host Coffee today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
When others are finishing, we're flourishing. Omaha's best for trees, shrubs, perennials, and summer decor. With the largest inventory in the metro, homegrown and Nebraska ready. Lanahaw Garden Center, 192nd and West Center.
You're listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
6:30 on a Thursday night here on 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com, and live on Facebook and YouTube, as well as Twitter. I'm Jimmy Allen. That's Dan Campen, and we are brought to you by Bellevue University. If you're looking for the ideal college experience, head over to bellevue.edu. Register for classes. No classes on Friday. The majority of your schooling done online. Check out bellevue.edu for more details today. You can also enjoy live sports right on campus at Bellevue University. We're waiting to get a hold of Brian McIntyre here. Bomac is Terrence Crawford's head trainer. If you're not aware of who he is, he's also the WBO trainer of the year. And it's funny, Dan. I was gonna ask Bomac about this, but when we were out for the Crawford Spence fight in Vegas, we talked to Derek James, who was at the time Errol Spence's head trainer, and he gave Bomac his flowers on our show, and it was very nice and had a lot of nice things to say about him. But on the conference stand and in front of the podium and in front of the cameras, didn't necessarily have the nicest things to say. Listen, there's a little bit of having to sell tickets too, and I get that and I understand that, but it really feels like once, and I'm going to refer to it as this, and I don't care what anybody has to say about it. Once the Terrence Crawford era really began, the Brian McIntyre stock skyrocketed as well. And I want to make no bones about it. I think those two were absolutely direct responsive for each other. I think Terrence would have been a very successful boxer his entire career. I don't know if he'd have got to the heights he's at without Brian McIntyre, and I feel the same way about Brian McIntyre being a trainer with Terrence Crawford. So I think it's incredible for a guy that has taken a lot of flack because of his body weight, and he's a former heavyweight boxer, and he still looks like a heavyweight, and he's taken a lot of flack from fighters. And again, there's a selling tickets aspect to it, but some non-flattering things said about him that has been able to kind of turn the cheek to some sense, or use it as fuel or a chip on his shoulder to just continue to do his job and grind and be able to train multiple fighters at a heavy. I mean, listen, we've had 3 on this show, and we've talked to Shakur Stevens and Steven So Cold Nelson, as well as Kevin Ventura, and 2 of those guys obviously being Omaha guys, and the other one being a world champion. It's not a lot of trainers will work with one fighter or just have one fighter of note to work with. And I think it says a lot about Brian McIntyre that he's been able to not only have the success that he's had with Bud Crawford, but go out and continue to train at a high level and have the success that he's had. And it looks like he's calling back right now, Dan. Hopefully we'll get Bomac here in a second, get his thoughts on all that. And I don't think we can understate how hectic one of these fights are. If you're the head trainer for one of these fighters at one of these events, and we got the luxury of having to see Bomac do it out in LA and in Vegas, and we'll go to him now. Brian McIntyre joins. Bomac, I appreciate you taking our call tonight, man. I know you're doing a million things right now.
Yeah, it's cool.
Hey, we talked to Derek James before the Spence fight on this show specifically, and he gave you your flowers and had a lot of positive things to say about you. I know when you guys were on stage, he didn't necessarily always say the most flattering things, but yeah, he's a guy who was a trainer of the year in his own right at one point. For a long time, a lot of people talked about you and Bud as guys that were maybe ducking people, and anybody that was paying attention knew that wasn't the case. You just got the head trainer of the year from the WBO. What has it been like to kind of finally be recognized by your peers?
Well, I will tell you this, man. The paper got it wrong. This is my second one.
Yeah.
From the WBO. I got one in 2017, and then this one. So, what it feels like is it's cool. It's cool. I don't look for accolades or nothing like that. I look for guys to become champions. And to try to make a better life for themselves.
We've had a couple guys on this show, from Steven Nelson to Kevin Ventura. We got a chance to interview Shakur when we were out in Vegas. What is it like for you to be able to get your hands on different guys and work with a guy that's fighting for a world championship, or work with a guy that's maybe a local fighter that it walks into B&B and you get to kind of mold him in your own image? How is that experience for you as a trainer?
Man, you know what? It's gratifying that that I get to get the opportunity to work with different fighters from all over the world, especially the guys that's coming out of our city and guys that's actually coming out of our gym that started in our gym years ago. It's gratifying, for one, and I always said this. Somebody tried to help me get to that stage in my life, but, you know, sometimes I wasn't disciplined. But I wanted to always give back to guys that's trying to get to where on the pinnacle of their boxing career.
Why is it such a big deal for you to do it in Omaha, in North Omaha, and for your community?
Well, for one, I started off in North Omaha at the CW Boxing Club, and then the gym got moved out the neighborhood, and we lost some fighters. We lost some great fighters. We lost some great fighters too, because of the distance away, what it was away from the actual neighborhood, actual north side. And so I said always to myself, whenever I get a chance, I'm gonna open up a boxing gym back in North Omaha. And opportunity came, and so I did it because we need that. You know, our community needs that, not just only for the kids, the adults get to come through there. The community can be something proud about, and just look at it like this: from what we accomplished, from me and Terrence accomplished, in the gym accomplished. When guys from our city goes out and they talk about Omaha, they get to brag about us, or they say, "Oh, that's some guys from Nebraska. Those are guys from Omaha." So by just putting Omaha and our city and our gym on the map, it's gratifying.
Absolutely. And we're catching up the two-time WBO Trainer of the Year, Brian McIntyre, here on After Hours. We caught up with John Walker from the Omaha World Herald last night. He talked about the piece that he wrote about you and Terrence, and he mentioned last night that there was the infamous story about you and Bud in the grocery store. And I think anybody that's ever coached or taught or had to work with young people or been an educator before, we always see those days where maybe they're not seeing it in themselves. And nobody's ever going to confuse Terrence Crawford, somebody that's not confident in his skills. But were there any moments where you had to help bring out the confidence level in him or make him feel confident in what he was doing in the ring?
Well, you always got to, teach the kids that where you want to get is it's a path to it. You got to grow into it. I mean, you might be physically and mentally, strong, and I want to do this, and I want to become a world champion, but you just can't become a world champion overnight. You got to be able to be disciplined, and you got to have that heart of a lion, and in the ring and outside of the ring. And you got to be compassionate at the same time too. So, teaching kids like that, or teaching Bud or other fighters, it's a must, because some guys can handle it, some guys can't.
You fought yourself. You mentioned it. You're from Omaha. You're from North Omaha. The community is important to you. Have you had the time to reflect on how special the last 6 to 8 years have been, from whether it be having to corner for a fight during the pandemic to being at Madison Square Garden or in the corner for the Spence fight? Have you had a chance to think about all the venues? I mean, you guys were just in Egypt a couple of months ago. Have you had a chance to really sit back and appreciate the ability that you've had to travel the world for the sport that you love?
Man, you know what, man? I really don't try not to look at it like that.
Sure.
It's in my blood. This is what we do every day. This is it's a lifestyle with us, with B&B, the fighters, the coaches. It's a lifestyle. This is the lifestyle that we live. And so whatever comes along with it, you just got to take it with a grain of salt. You got to be disciplined behind it, and you got to be well prepared, well mentally prepared and physically prepared for all the traveling, all the hours in the gym, amateurs, professionals, all of that. You got to mentally prepare yourself and physically prepare yourself to be able to accomplish the things that we accomplish. Are they good? Of course. Do I thrive on them? Nah.
You can think about that stuff.
Is it great to have it? People mention it to it? Yeah. Do I live by it? Nah.
You can think about that stuff when you retire anyway, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's cool to have it. It's cool. Maybe after I retire, I can sit back and say, "Oh man, that was great when we did it. It's great. Thank you for the acknowledgement and all that. But right now, man, it's just keep my head down and just keep working.
I think anytime anybody Googles you or looks you up on Twitter, or there's the meme of you telling everybody "I told you so" after the Spence fight. Can you talk about what that moment meant to you, and did that feel like your arrival to where you like? I mean, you talked about the previous Trainer of the Year award, but like maybe the everything we knew was going to happen actually happened moment for you.
Well, see, I look at it when the fight got announced, or when they first started talking about the fight, I just kept telling them, y'all, this fight ain't gonna go like y'all think it's gonna go. Of course, it's gonna be tough for a couple rounds.
Don't you remember? Everybody said you guys were ducking Spence. Don't you remember that conversation?
Yeah, I definitely do that. Yeah, and all the crap they talk, all the bad mouth they talked about me, about Bud, and we ain't fought nobody. You know, we ain't on that level. It just and they believed it too. The world believed it because of the promotional machine that Vince had behind him, and we really didn't have nothing. We got top rings, but they didn't push it like we were supposed to get pushed. So when it came to our time, people didn't believe in us. People say we ain't fought nobody, but I knew from my heart and from experience that we was gonna dominate the fight like we did.
Yeah, it really sucks that Terrence Crawford can't draw a crowd, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, you don't have to give away the secret sauce, and we're going to get to why you're in LA here in a minute. But I have to ask, there's been several fights, we could list all of them if you really wanted to, where Bud would come out and he would fight a little more reserved and maybe not as aggressive to kind of figure out where the fighter across the ring was in that fight, and then just dominate from there on out. Is that a Terrence Crawford thing? Is that a Brian McIntyre thing, or a little bit of both?
That's just a little bit of Terrence Crawford, you know, because you got to think about he's in there when taking punches.
Sure.
He's in there, you know, he got to download the information inside of his computer, what's up the side of his head, and be able to decipher it as the rounds goes on. So I always tell Terrence, you ain't got no rounds to give away. They ain't got no rounds to give away, you know. But when people first started seeing him, it just took time until it just got to a point to where he's just winning every damn round.
I don't know why, but when you said that, it took me back to the Sean Porter fight where you guys are telling him in the corner, hey, he might be ahead here. And that fight didn't go too much longer than that. Was it as simple as you knew telling him that he is a finisher and he had the ability to win the fight in that moment? Or did you guys actually think Sean Porter was ahead?
No, I knew it was kind of close, but
sure.
I didn't think he was ahead. But somebody on the outside was telling him that he was down. I'm like, what? I was like, man, come on, man, just pick it up.
Overall, not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Hey, you're out.
Just pick it up and finish it off.
You're out in LA. You're in a corner for Charles Harris this weekend. He's taking on Jason Lehman. Can you tell people how they can buy the fight or make sure they can check it out?
Oh, it's gonna be on YouTube on ProBox YouTube channel. So.
Well, good luck. Hopefully, you guys bring home another win and enjoy your time out in LA, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thanks, man.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate your time. Glad we can finally do this.
All right.
That's Brian McIntyre. Bomac is the WBO two-time national trainer world trainer of the year. Excuse me. He'll be out in LA. You can catch the fight on YouTube, as he just mentioned, as he's cornering Charles Harris this weekend. If you missed Bomac's segment, check it out on our radio replay page at 1620thezone.com. Tonight is brought to you by Mad Hatter Auto Repair. From check engine lights to brake repairs, oil changes, and complete diagnostics, Mad Hatter will give your vehicle the royal treatment. Two great locations, 144th Center over off Broadway and Council Bluffs. They're going to give you a 7-year, 77,000-mile warranty on anything they're working on. Check out Mad Hatter Auto Repair and book an appointment tonight. We find out what's trending on social media when we come back at 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Recon Pest Services. Yeah, you know it's hot outside today. It's going to be hot outside tomorrow. It's going to be hot outside for the next couple of months, but it's going to get cold before you know it. And you want to put up a preventative border around your house to keep the creepy crawlies out when it's not hot outside, because they're going to be looking for somewhere to live, and you don't want them coming in your house and not paying rent. You already got to deal with your in-laws. You don't want to deal with the insects. Head over to ReconPestServices.com and tell them After Hours sent you.
Ready to make a positive impact in a young boy's life? Join Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands and become a mentor, where you are matched up with a boy in the greater Omaha area. Over 50 boys are waiting for someone like you to guide and inspire them. Visit mentoromaha.org and sign up to make a difference in a boy's life. Don't wait. Make a lasting impact today.
Wedding season's here, and Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear has been trusted for over 50 years to help you look your best. Whether you're the groom or part of the wedding party, Jerry Ryan can outfit every man in the wedding from head to toe. From custom suits and sport coats to dress shirts, shoes, and accessories, their experienced team will help make sure everyone looks their absolute best on the big day. Visit Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear at 78th and Dodge today, where Omaha's best-dressed men have shopped for over 50 years.
Are you ready for the game changer of the day? Bellevue University has a new state-of-the-art 72,000 square foot field house featuring premium courts, generous fan seating, top-tier locker rooms, dedicated athletic training, and a strength and conditioning space, plus a whole lot more. It's not just a venue, it's a home court advantage. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
Is your car making weird noises? Don't wait until a small issue turns into a big repair bill. Take it to Mad Hatter Auto Repair, where they take the madness out of auto repair. From oil changes and brakes to full diagnostics, their expert team gets you back on the road fast and without breaking the bank. Honest, reliable, local. That's the Mad Hatter difference. Follow the Little White Rabbit to 140th and West Center Road in Omaha or 34th and West Broadway in Council Bluffs. Mad Hatter Auto Repair, where your car gets treated right.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 pre-K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the CUES Fund Board, which supports the CUES school system. To learn more, go to CUES Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
Imagine if the people who work at your bank were neighbors who could help with a home loan.
Congratulations, you're approved.
Or friends who love to shop local.
Have a good one.
At UBT, who you work with matters just as much as what you're working toward.
Hey, thanks for helping.
That's why your money has more than a banker. It has people. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender. Member FDIC.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
Wrapping up the first hour here on 1620 The Zone. Jimmy Allen and Dan Campbell with you, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you're looking for the ideal college experience this fall, head over to bellevue.edu. Register for classes, become a Bruin. No classes on Friday. The majority of your schooling done online. Live sports right on your campus as well. Check out bellevue.edu. For more details tonight, thank you so much to Brian McIntyre for joining us, the 2-time WBO Trainer of the Year in boxing, and obviously the corner man for one Terrence Bud Crawford. Dan, obviously we were
never heard of that guy. Is he a big deal around here or something?
We were clearly stalling for as much time as we could there because we've seen in person what this looks like. Trying to, for anybody that doesn't know, and I don't feel bad telling the story now. It's been a couple of years. When we went out to Vegas, we were supposed to get both fighters, both trainers. An S show broke out.
Yes.
And then when we went to LA, it was even worse. And it's not because of anything they did or weren't doing or Julie Budd's great publicist was or wasn't doing. There was a bunch of rules problems.
I was going to say it was a bunch of stuff that other people
that they had to deal with and
they had to go through.
And obviously we felt bad. And thank you to Shakur Stevens for joining us that one time. Keith Thurman joined us in Vegas that one time as well. So we were able to get other fighters, just not the guys that we were planning on talking to. Apparently, we just had to be in a completely different city to get Brian McIntyre to join us. But listen, I mean, the guy you heard him; he's just such a class act every time he interacts with us, and he was so gracious both times that we were able to go out to those fights. And I didn't tell them about the situation with the Canelo fight, and he texted me and asked me where we were. I don't know if I told you that.
Oh, I didn't know.
So yeah, he was a little disappointed. Not that we weren't, but was wondering why we weren't in Vegas for the Canelo fight. Bomac, we were too.
Probably had a little bit more time during that one. I'm sure those rules were pretty much stapled up before the fight, right?
And when we were just talking off air, I mean, he's lucky enough that this weekend he's only cornering one fight. When we were in Vegas, he had 4.
Yeah.
When we were in LA, he had 5.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a little more free time, which is the real reason we were able to get him tonight. But I mean, not that I guess there needs to be an appreciation for it, but the thing that I took away probably more from the Madrimov fight than the Spence fight was just everything that was happening that he is the head trainer for the main event fighter has to do.
Yeah,
that you would just assume somebody else handles. Like that really blew me away. And if we had more time, and maybe we can get him in a couple more weeks here, because they've got another fight coming up. But I would not have assumed that the night before the fight, there were some things being said, and we could hear it through the wall because it was being said rather loudly. They spent like 4 hours in that rules meeting. There was clearly some discrepancies from both sides for that, and that's why it kind of took as much time as it did. I'm just like, shouldn't these guys be worried about tomorrow night more than this right now? Like, should this be settled by like the boxing commission and not necessarily the fighters and the trainers?
And there's a lot of stuff that I didn't realize, like you said, that Bomac just kind of handles.
Yeah.
That it's like, it's not like PR stuff and interviews and like getting Bud to and from and trying to keep a schedule. There's obviously a giant team around it, but I was more surprised that I personally was sort of, I would say, hounding Bomac on the days that we were, near them to be like, hey, come on the show for an interview. Come on the show for an interview.
I don't think hounding is a fair phrase because we were told they were coming. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like we were asking him without confirmation beforehand.
Yeah. And he, again, super gracious, very nice. And in his own Bomac way was like, hey, I'm kind of doing a lot of stuff right now. And there's a lot of stuff that I have to figure out. We'll get to you after the rules meeting. And then we realized, this rules meeting's going on.
And it's not going well. And the reason I specifically, I don't know why my voice just did that. The reason I specifically asked him about the I told you so moment after the Spence fight wasn't necessarily because of I wanted him to gloat or for him to brag. Because, I mean, Google Terrence Crawford corners Errol Spence. It happened it's on video. Like he told him to put up any kind of money, whatever it was, they were going to make the fight happen. And people kept talking about Brian McIntyre ducking Derek James. It wasn't about Terrence and Spence. It was about the trainers for whatever reason. And I loved when we were sitting in Radio Row and in Vegas and Bomac just looked over at him. They asked him a question about something else. He looks over and goes, "You can't run anymore, Derek. You can't tell anybody we're hiding anymore, Derek. Like, this is happening tomorrow night. It's happening to you."
Yeah.
And everything they said was going to happen came true. And it wasn't about that for him. It was more of you can't use those excuses anymore in any level of validity, because that was the conversation around Bud Crawford and Brian McIntyre for a long time is, well, they're not willing to fight anybody. Bud Crawford won a title and then called out the other one left belt holder 40 seconds after he beat Hank Lundy. He calls out Julius Ndongo. They didn't run from anybody, and they moved up 3 weight classes to do it. And like, it was that moment for me for Bomac after the Spence fight. And then it was the raw emotion on Bud's face after beating Canelo, where it was like, everything we've been saying is true. Here's the check, cash it. Yeah. And like, obviously it's great for us around here because they're local guys, but to hear, I mean, Spence talking about, I'll never be afraid of anybody from Nebraska, and the knock on Terrence of being a Nebraska-born boxer and being trained by a Nebraska-born trainer, and nobody's come out of Nebraska, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. To go cards on the table.
Ooh.
what do you have to say now? And that's why when Canelo tried pulling the "you haven't fought anybody" card, all Bud did was look at the camera and say, "Anybody can be nobody. Are you going to be a nobody after I beat you?" And not that Canelo Alvarez will ever be a nobody.
Yeah,
but the debate is over. And did he have to do? Did Terrence have to go a little Floyd Mayweather and say this is the Terrence Crawford era and claim it himself? He had to, because nobody else was going to do it. As soon as he started, the Max Kellermans of the world, and I guess Max was on board a little bit before that, but I mean the talking head shows, the people around boxing, anybody that knew what they were watching, understood. No, this dude's the number one in the world, and people have been running from him for a long time. I've called him the boogeyman of boxing for the better part of 8 years.
Oh yeah, because
it was legit. I mean, people were afraid he was going to call them out, and he beat them all. And I've been adamant about this. I don't think he's done. I still think he's got 2 fights left to him. I don't think he's in any hurry to get into those 2 fights. But I will be surprised if we've seen the last of Terrence Crawford. I will be utterly astonished if we don't see him fight inside Memorial Stadium. We'll wait and see what happens there.
Yeah, I know. When you brought up the who's from Nebraska, no one's ever come out of Nebraska. It just always reminds me of when Bud went and talked to the Huskers in that Chasing 3.
Yeah.
And he's like, who comes out of Nebraska? No one comes out of Nebraska. And then he just looks at the guys and goes, but diamonds shine anywhere. And I was like, ooh,
it's pretty good. It's
made me
pretty
think
good
of that
line.
again. And I got chills down my spine. I'm like, ooh, I got to go like run a mile or work out or something.
So I kind of went the opposite direction when Bomac specifically said when he brought up that, you know, when people talk about boxing and Terrence Crawford gets brought up, they think about the state of Nebraska. And I honestly believe that, remember, I think it was 2005. They did that interview. It was for the Tunnel Walk, and it had Lee Corso and Reese Davis and all those guys. And Reese Davis says, whenever people hear the state of Nebraska, they think Cornhuskers.
Mm-hmm.
I truly think that has been replaced by Terrence Crawford.
Oh yeah.
When people hear the state of Nebraska, they automatically think about Bud Crawford. And that's a pretty heavy accomplishment for him to pull off. If you missed the social media soundbite or the Brian McIntyre interview, you want to go back and re-listen, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. Tonight it was brought to you by Allo Fiber all across our great state. It's clear there's no place like Nebraska. And just like so many of us, Allo calls Nebraska home. If you're looking for 2 gigs of internet directly to your home that you don't have to share with your neighbors, you just log in, don't have to worry about your kids being on their iPad. You just have great internet speed all year round. Check out allofiber.com/Husker Radio. Tell them After Hours sent you, and get out of the Stone Age tonight. We buy or sell on several different topics. We come back at 1620 Zone.
The weather's warming up, meaning ants, wasps, and termites are teaming up to invade your home. It's time to call in a better team. At Recon Pest Services, we stop the bugs before they take over. But our commitment doesn't stop at your front door. We care for your property like it's our own, because our community is our family. We're dedicated to making Omaha better by supporting local youth sports, events, and community causes. Partner with a pest control company that truly cares. Visit ReconPestServices.com today and stay protected all season long.
Rail Cars Happy Hour is here. Stop by 144th and Blondo Monday through Saturday from 2:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday from 2 to close, and enjoy $2 to $5 off appetizers, $1 off draft and bottles of beer, and delicious ciders. All signature cocktails are $10. Classic cocktails are $8. And every glass of wine is $2 off. Plus, Rail Cars' incredible brunch menu is on display 9:30 to 2 Saturday and Sunday. Rail Car Modern American Kitchen, 144th and Blondo.
The real game changer in college athletics, it's coaches. And at Bellevue University, there is an experienced team of coaches who know you both as an athlete and as a person. Plus, there are student coach advisors who are there to provide individualized academic support every step of the way as you progress towards your degree. At Bellevue University, you're not just another athlete. You belong. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Are you ready to put your business in the starting lineup? Whether you need eye-catching storefront signage, bold seasonal window graphics, or yard signs for your summer campaign, Signovation is your MVP. At Signovation, your brand shows up and wins. From lighting up the Omaha night sky with your logo, to making sure your message jumps out of the grass and grabs your ideal customer's attention. We've got you covered. Don't sit on the bench. Get in the game. Visit SignOvationOmaha.com today.
The Ace Rent to Own. 4 ways to save. 1. Cash and carry with our best price guarantee. 2. Up to 12 months, same as cash. 3. Short-term leasing. And 4. Our best rent to own low weekly rate. And this month, $4 pays the first 4 weeks. Get the furniture, appliances, electronics, or even tires today.
Take me out to the Rib Shack.
Take me out with the crowd.
Buy me some ribs, brisket, and some mac.
I don't care if I never get back. Let me eat at the Rib Shack.
In every bite, there's a win. For it's 1, 2, 3 slabs you're in at the old Rib Shack.
Rib Shack Smokehouse, 108th and Q.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 13340 California, Omaha.
Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it really easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and the best selection of General tires. Go to TireRack.com/Dan to see their General tire test results, tire ratings, and reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Need that one particular plant? We've got over 500 different varieties. Need 50 of the same one? We've got that too. That's the Lanahaw difference. Depth and beauty you can't find anywhere else. Lanahaw Garden Center, 192nd and West Center.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
Top of the second hour here on 1620 The Zone. We're going to catch up with Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered at 7:30 talk. It's officially football season, folks. We're looking forward to it. Before we get there, we got to get to buy or sell with Dan Campton. Dan, what do we got?
1 second. I just messed something up in the stream.
That allows me to tell a real quick story. I had to be downtown at the courthouse. Nothing bad. All good things. I talked to somebody with the city today. A guy just stopped me in the office, goes, "Hey, man, I listen to your show every night." I said, "Hey, appreciate that. Thanks." You didn't tell me your name, sir, but I appreciate you listening. So if you're listening right now, 402-951-1620. Call and tell us how great we are.
Yeah,
Are we good?
Yes, we are. I just put up the wrong background and then put up the wrong background a second time.
I never doubted that you could fix it. Good job.
Very good at my job. But hey,
many are saying
people who are really good at their jobs is the center of our first question tonight. Still no official decision from LeBron's camp on where he'll be taking his talents next year. Allegedly, it's going to happen on Sunday. However, Adam Silver has come out to say that LeBron's decision is factoring into the delay in the release of the NBA schedule. Buy or sell. This is a valid reason to hold off on scheduling NBA games.
You have to cater to your stars. I buy that. I sell that you should come out and say it publicly, though. That's kind of a bad look for the league. Hey, we need this one guy to figure out where he's going, and it's affecting the other 29 teams that have nothing to do with him. Not the best look in the world.
I just it bothers me in the fact that there's no reason to hold up the schedule just because LeBron hasn't made a decision yet. You can still make a schedule and you can flex games to wherever you want to. You're a professional sports league.
Yeah.
Anyone can play at any time. And you can say, hey, you know what we're going to do? Christmas Day games will be revealed later. We're not going to tell you who's playing on Christmas Day.
Or you could just adapt the NFL, who's successful at everything strategy, and allow flex changes.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
It's your
And
league.
You don't have to tell people what games are going to be on TV at all. At any
just
point
announce
in
the
time.
schedule and then figure out the TV schedule later.
Speaking of people who are retired and or nearing retirement, the buzz around Aaron Donald, it is not going away. Buy or sell, we see AD unretire for a little Rams and ring action.
Oh, I buy. I think this is it wasn't his wife that came out and talked about how miserable he was after he retired.
Yes,
and
he can't stand it,
Yeah.
allegedly, according to his wife.
Now you throw in the conversation about all the moving pieces that the Rams have added in the offseason. I think it's only a matter of time. It's the same conversation we're having last. Who were we talking about? Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
He probably just doesn't want to go to OTAs or worry about it until it's actually time to play football. That's probably what we're waiting on.
And I will say, if Aaron Donald, I mean, he knows what he's doing. He can't be this big of like a fool to be like, I'm just posting my super intense workouts where I'm just, barbell pressing or dumbbell pressing like 150 pounds per arm. It doesn't mean anything, guys. There's nothing behind this. He knows that he's fueling the fire right now. And if I'm Aaron Donald, I'm definitely drooling to be like me and Myles Garrett
right
on both ends of the line.
And
we would cause problems.
I know I said this about Conor McGregor. Was it 2 nights ago about taking 5 years off? I don't anticipate Aaron Donald coming back and looking exactly like he did when he retired. I think he's going to be a step slower. I think he's going to look a little bit different. I don't think he's going to be an all-pro level right away. Maybe he'll get there by the end of the season or close to that form. But if he's like 80% of what he was and you throw Myles Garrett on the outside of him, I do not love that the 49ers have to play the Rams twice this year.
Indeed. Moving on, the time might have come in Boulder, Colorado. The Buffs went 3-9 last season under Deion, and he has almost outright abandoned his recruiting of young talent and has tried to go for the splashy transfer portal hire.
Did he ever start?
Buy or sell, he's getting through this one more season.
Are you? Let me clarify. Are you asking if I think he makes it through the end of this year, or if is he back next year?
The end of this season, just this one.
I don't think they can fire him. I mean, you're right, Dan. They absolutely went 3-9. They only won one game the year before they hired him. There's been more buzz around Colorado football than maybe since the late early 2000s. I think guys are going to show up. I still think the Lil Waynes, the Rocks of the world are still going to want to come to Boulder to some degree. I mean, they're going to start winning probably for that to happen more often. But you're still selling hats and sunglasses, and they have Colorado Buffalo logos on them. Do you care if you win because you're not going to compete for a national championship? I don't know.
I think it won't be him getting fired and he makes it through this season, but I see a quote unquote mutual parting of ways coming a lot sooner than anyone in Colorado would want it to, because I think the situation,
his health situation.
Yeah. His health situation is moderately untenable. And then just the situation with him not really being the out front face of recruiting like some other head coaches are in college football right now.
You could say it like all other head coaches are.
I think is really hurting him.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a problem.
The thing I'm most intrigued by is I'm more intrigued by Colorado after Deion for a lot of reasons. Because lest we not forget, Deion Sanders walked into a room full of Colorado Buffalo football players, said, y'all might as well jump in the transfer portal. I'm bringing dudes with me, and you're not welcome here.
Yeah.
And Colorado as a university went, yep, you're right, get out. And didn't have the players back in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like for the next guy? I don't care who it is. From a media and lightning rod standpoint, it's not going to be Deion Sanders. And what is the attraction to Boulder post Deion Sanders? Because it definitely wasn't there before him. I think that school is in for it's probably best that they went back to the Big 12, because I have a lot of questions about what that's going to look like once he's gone.
Yeah, they're could be in for a world of hurt.
Say what you want about 3 and 9. There's a possibility it gets worse.
And actually, so you brought up The Rock.
That's Dwayne Johnson for everybody out there that likes bad Disney movies.
This just
The Tooth Fairy, it's a horrible movie.
Oh, okay. We're gonna sit down here right now and we're gonna have this conversation.
No, we're not. What do you got about The Rock?
Because Moana, the live action version of it, is
Fair.
bad. The Tooth Fairy with Ryan Sheckler as a star hockey player.
Okay, what about The Rock?
That's good acting right there. Well, this just reminded me. So in all of his Pat McAfee-ness, it was an ESPN product last night with the ESPYs. So of course, Pat McAfee did his show from the ESPYs, garnering him what many would be unsurprised is a multitude of celebrity interviews. And also an interview with a jackwagon. Jake Paul took his time on the Pat McAfee show yesterday to say a lot of things that made little sense. One of them being that he wants his next fight to be against Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I'm sure he does.
Buy or sell, we would ever see a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Jake Paul boxing card.
Sell hard. The Rock does not need the money, so he's getting all that TKO money right now. The only reason this would have ever actually happened, it would have been 2 years ago, because the Smashing Machine was coming out, and The Rock could have used it to sell movie tickets.
Yes.
It ain't happening now. With that being said, is there a Mandela effect, or did I get falsed on Twitter or read something wrong? Weren't the Paul brothers going to fight each other at one point? Wasn't that a thing?
Yes.
Whatever happened to that?
Do you want all of the tea on that?
Yeah, because they're still cordial.
Yes, so they're cool now, but there was a time way back when they kind of started that like YouTube boxing kind of thing, and it was all sort of predicated on this guy KSI, who Logan Paul was really close with. And at the time, Jake Paul was living in a house with his crew of other YouTubers called Team 10. And this is back when...
You were right. I regret asking this question. Go ahead.
You should. This is back when they were sending rap disses back and forth at each other because allegedly...
No. Dude, this is like a year ago. That I'm talking about.
I don't know about that then, but
Okay.
there was a boxing match that they were going to have like probably back in 2017, 2018, because they were sending diss tracks back and forth at each other. Logan Paul apparently got with Jake Paul's ex-girlfriend and all this other stuff. It was a wild time to be on the internet and to know things that I, to this day, do not care or want to know, but they're in my head.
This just kind of feels like a Mandela effect thing. If that didn't happen, I'm telling you right now, the Jake Paul of it all will end with him fighting Logan Paul in the most rigged boxing match of all time.
That would be great.
What else?
Moving on, one last question. The Athletic is doing throwback lists, and it wouldn't be buy or sell in the middle of the summer if we didn't reference a list. This week, it's the 25 best football players of the 90s, college edition. Will Shields comes in at number 23, and Tommy Frazier is number 3. And of course, Charles Woodson is topping the list at number 1.
And what was the total list? Sorry, what was this for? List of
25 best college football players of the 90s.
Of the 90s. Okay. I thought I missed that part. I was like, Charles Woodson was listed as the best college football player of all time. Sorry, go ahead. All right.
Yes. Buy or sell, we should see more Huskers on this list. Will Shields and Tommy Frazier were the only two that made it.
The guy that obviously is missing, in my opinion, is Lawrence Phillips. The problem is everything else that comes along with the conversation about Lawrence Phillips, which is probably why he's not in that conversation. Trev Alberts was a top 5 draft pick. Yes, should there be? Absolutely. But there's also, it's the same conversation we're having about Bud Crawford, Nebraska, right? There's this seems to be disdain and the lack of success after college that kind of plagued Nebraska in the 90s seems to hurt them when it comes to lists like this, which is why Ndamukong Suh is on every list.
Yes, indeed.
that get anything out? Do you? Who is there? Somebody specifically missing that you're referencing? That
No,
not okay. I didn't know.
This question is specifically on here because I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah,
my thoughts on 90s Nebraska football is I was not ingrained in the culture until 2002, and the first head coaches that I remember were Frank Solich and, of course, the lovely, wonderful, greatest possible time that we could ever have in all of Nebraska football history in Bill Callahan.
I want to add, because really quickly,
I remember when I thought that was going to work as a third grader too. I was like, yes, Bill Callahan, he just coached the Raiders.
Really, I want to ask really quickly because you said that T. Phrase was 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. I wonder how many non-Heisman Trophy winners are on this list. I'm going to take a look at that. When we come back, check it out on our radio replay page at 1620thezone.com. Tonight it was brought to you by our friends out at Railcar, which is on 144th in Blondo. It's almost the weekend. Primetime Prime Rib starts tomorrow night. Reverse Happy Hour starts at 5. You can grab Primetime Prime Rib dinner on 144th in Blondo for dinner. Come back on Saturday and Sunday for brunch. The Chilaquiles Nachos, my personal favorite thing on the menu. You're not going to regret it. Head over to Railcar 144th in Blondo. Grab dinner and drinks tonight. We'll be right back. Something or nothing about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's thoughts about Caitlin Clark. We'll ask Dan Campen on the other side of the break.
Weather from KETV Newswatch 7 is brought to you on 1620 The Zone by Certified Transmission.
A couple of scattered showers, even thunder showers around here early this evening with a temperature in the 80s. Later tonight, mostly clear, low down to the low 70s, then mostly sunny, hot on Friday, a high around 94. Heat index will get close to 100. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Randby from KETV Newswatch 7.
Are you ready to put your business in the starting lineup? Whether you need eye-catching storefront signage, bold seasonal window graphics, or yard signs for your summer campaign, Signovation is your MVP. At Signovation, your brand shows up and wins. From lighting up the Omaha night sky with your logo, to making sure your message jumps out of the grass and grabs your ideal customer's attention, we've got you covered. Don't sit on the bench. Get in the game. Visit SignovationOmaha.com today.
Are you ready for the game changer of the day? Bellevue University has a new state-of-the-art 72,000 square foot fieldhouse featuring premium courts, generous fan seating, top-tier locker rooms, dedicated athletic training, and a strength and conditioning space, plus a whole lot more. It's not just a venue, it's a home court advantage. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
If you're looking for an authentic Italian experience, look no further than Pasta Amore. For 4 decades, Pasta Amore has been keeping the spark alive for couples in the Omaha area with their homemade pasta, made fresh every day. Our hand-picked selection of exceptional wines will put the nightcap on your evening that you expect. Open every day at 4. Stop by Pasta Amore in Rockbrook Village and enjoy dining in the romantic dining room or relax on our shaded patio.
The time between Memorial Day and Labor Day is known as the 100 Deadliest Days. It accounts for nearly 1/3 of Nebraska's traffic deaths. Sadly, 58 people lost their lives on Nebraskan roads during this time last year. Your children, significant others, parents, pets, and friends matter to you. Drive like they matter. Always wear your seatbelt, keep your eyes on the road, and put your phone away. Don't let a crash take you away from their lives. Brought to you by the Nebraska chapter of the National Safety Council and the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog. Well, they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Our front paws, hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
A plant is just a plant until you see where it comes from. Lanaha grows Omaha's best right here in Nebraska with the advice to keep it thriving. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lanaha Garden Center, 192nd and West Center.
You are listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
$7:20 on a Wednesday night, or it's Thursday. Sorry if I scared anybody there. It's definitely Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday here on 1620 The Zone. It's time for something or nothing because it is a Thursday night. Dan, I want to get your thoughts on this because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Cap, has been not captain in the night shift, but the captain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, recently was talking about Caitlin Clark and said that he doesn't believe there could be one face of the WNBA. He doesn't think that any league has one face, and I disagree with that. But he also mentioned winning along with that. And listen, I truly believe if it was about the best player, I don't think it's debatable. It's A'ja Wilson, right? A'ja Wilson would be the face of the WNBA. That's not always the case with certain leagues. I think Mike Trout was the face of baseball for a long time. I'm not going to talk about Mike Trout being a bust. I think Ken Griffey was that for baseball for a long time. It's different in baseball. But there's been discussion about Ant-Man becoming the face of the league in the NBA, not won a championship. What did you take away from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's comments about Caitlin Clark?
I mean, it's interesting to me that Kareem would come out and say something, first of all, in general, because as a guy who was the centerpiece of the Milwaukee Bucks for so long, and for obviously some of the greatest Lakers teams of all time, he always sort of shied away from the fame that brought him in general.
Sure.
So it's interesting that he would be, even sort of joining the who's the face of what debate. I will say he is partially right.
Because it was Magic's team when he was in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say he is partially right just on the fact that Caitlin Clark hasn't won a championship yet. And I do believe to people who are hard and fast and WNBA fans, that
all six of them,
A'ja Wilson is still the face of the league.
Sorry, that was low-hanging fruit.
It was. But yeah, I still think A'ja Wilson is probably the bar none face of this league right now. But I don't think it can be argued that for a lot of people, Caitlin Clark is their entry point into the WNBA right now. And I think that should be somewhat embraced. And, I kind of think that there's something here because I think that Kareem isn't wrong in the way that he's stating it. But I also do agree with you in the fact that there's never really just been one face of a league. Because the leagues have always been better when we've had
multiple. I agree.
Multiple and the drama of it all. Like you don't get to have the 90s New York Knicks without Reggie Miller. You don't get to have Jordan without his many, many, many foes. I don't think you get. Honestly, I don't think you really
Is Hakeem the answer? Hakeem Olajuwon? Is he the answer for the 94-95 season without Michael Jordan? Like, was he? I guess, you said Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley, but it felt like for those 2 years, it was Hakeem Olajuwon's league.
Yeah.
Obviously, MVPs, finals MVPs, all that, and then Mike came back. But, like, even in the early 2000s, like, you had AI and Kobe. You had, like, latter 2000s, add LeBron into the conversation. Carmelo was kind of one of the faces of the leagues.
Yeah.
But this conversation got me thinking in a different light. Is the clock being sped up on Caitlin Clark because of the superstar that she is off the court? There's been this cachet of Caitlin Clark's stock because of what she did at Iowa and the eyes she brought to the attention of the game, the way she played. Is she going to be able to sustain that at the professional level without a championship? It takes a special type of person to do that. I think she can, but how quickly? Because part of the problem has been that she has been the face of the league.
Yeah,
as a rookie. What does it look like 4 or 5 years in if she still hasn't won a ring?
I would be less worried about 4 or 5 years in ringless Caitlin Clark as I would be MVP-less Caitlin Clark.
That's a great point.
If she doesn't have an MVP award within the next 5 years, that's when I think the conversation starts to turn into, well, she was never really that good and she's only this or that. You know, you kind of get the one-trick pony label put on you, even though she's very good from beyond the arc and in the assist category.
The only reason I slightly disagree is because of the same reason that people wanted Joel Embiid to win the MVP over Jokic 3 years ago. The fatigue of it all. Like, there will eventually be Caitlin Clark fatigue. There seems to kind of already be that discussion, and that may kind of like the Trevor Lawrence didn't win the Heisman thing because everybody expected it too much of it all. And like the other conversation that's going to be had is, well, she didn't win a national championship either. How can she be the best if she's never won a ring at any level that has mattered? And she may eventually become the player that's just good enough to get close and not grab the brass ring because, listen, it is A'ja Wilson's league. From a player standpoint, she's the best in the world tonight. Close. Yeah,
she's the best in the world. And then I have to say it because I am a fan of this team, but also because it is a true and factual statement that if it's not A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces, you still have to compete against New York that has Stewie and Sabrina amongst a larger cast of characters. And then you also still have to compete against,
you haven't named somebody,
the Minnesota Lynx and Nafisa Collier. And now Olivia Miles, who is basically saying, oh, there's an award for Rookie of the Year at the end of all of this. Oh, I'm just doing my best to try and win it by the All-Star break.
There's also Paige in Dallas. And I mean, it's not like we talk about who's going to grab the brass ring and be the face of the league. There's a lot of players that have the ability to do it in the W right now. We're going to get to Chris Phillips of the of SEC Unfiltered on the other side of the break. He's going to join us inside of the After Hours Lounge via the stream. We'll talk to him. We come back. If you missed something or nothing tonight, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. Tonight it was brought to you by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. It's golf season. What are you doing? Have you updated your wardrobe for the Lynx? If you haven't, you're missing out. Head over to Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. The best brand names from Mizzen & Main, Johnny O, Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, Roan Pants. You're going to be the most comfortable guy on the golf course and the best dressed one along the way as well. Check out Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. They've been dressing golfers in the Omaha area for over 50 years. Chris Phillips of the SEC Unfiltered Network. We come back here on 1620 The Zone.
The real game changer in college athletics, it's coaches. And at Bellevue University, there is an experienced team of coaches who know you both as an athlete and as a person. Plus, there are student coach advisors who are there to provide individualized academic support every step of the way as you progress towards your degree. At Bellevue University, you're not just another athlete. You belong. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Wedding season's here, and Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear has been trusted for over 50 years to help you look your best. Whether you're the groom or part of the wedding party, Jerry Ryan can outfit every man in the wedding from head to toe. From custom suits and sport coats to dress shirts, shoes, and accessories, their experienced team will help make sure everyone looks their absolute best on the big day. Visit Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear at 78th and Dodge today, where Omaha's best-dressed men have shopped for over 50 years.
Is your car making weird noises? Don't wait until a small issue turns into a big repair bill. Take it to Mad Hatter Auto Repair, where they take the madness out of auto repair. From oil changes and brakes to full diagnostics, their expert team gets you back on the road fast and without breaking the bank. Honest, reliable, local. That's the Mad Hatter difference. Follow the Little White Rabbit to 140th and West Center Road in Omaha or 34th and West Broadway in Council Bluffs. Mad Hatter Auto Repair, where your car gets treated right.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Hey, neighbor. Oh, my gosh. Is your energy bill sky high again, too?
Not anymore. My old windows were so leaky, it was as if I had a window open while my AC was running. So I replaced them with Champion windows.
Champion windows. Do you like them?
Like them. I love them. And they're guaranteed for a lifetime. They made the whole process easy. I just went online and booked my free estimate all by myself. And I got a great deal where I could buy 2 replacement windows and get 2 free.
A lifetime guarantee and buy 2 windows and get 2 free? Does that mean if I need 8 windows, I can buy 4 and get 4 free?
Sure does.
What if I buy 6? Do I get 6 free?
Yep.
Or if I get 10 windows, do I get 10 free?
Just call Champion Windows already.
If your windows are drafty, ugly, or broken, now is the best time to replace your home's windows with new Champion Windows. Book your free estimate online at championsavenow.com or call 877-GO-CHAMPION right now. All discounts apply to our regular prices. Select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? To be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 pre-K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the CUES Fund Board, which supports the CUES school system. To learn more, go to CUES Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
$7:32 inside the After Hours Lounge on a Thursday night. Now we get the opportunity for one of our favorite interviews that we've done, I think, every year now for 3 years. It's Chris Phillips from the SEC Unfiltered channel on YouTube. Chris, thanks for being here tonight, man. Appreciate it.
Jimmy, Dan, great to see you all again. I appreciate you having me. And yeah, it's that time of year yet again, man. You know, I'm a huge college baseball guy. We're in baseball mode pretty much from February to end of June when the College World Series concludes and the dust settles there in Omaha. But once we hit July 4th and get past it, man, my mind really, I flipped the switch, if you will. And not that we're not thinking about college football all year long, but college football season for me officially starts essentially after that July 4th holiday. So obviously right in the middle of it, less than 50 days till kick. Media days around the corner. We're going to blink. It's going to be fall camp. Blink again. Toe will be meeting leather, and excited to break it all down with you guys.
Were you up here in Omaha for the series this year?
I was. I did leave a few. I think I left about 2 days before the finals. Had some stuff to attend to back at home, but I was there. I got there Thursday, media day, I guess it is, and stayed all the way through until the dust settled on who was going to be playing in the finals, obviously it being Oklahoma and North Carolina. So I did not stay for the final weekend, but was there for about 6 or 7 days and obviously had a blast as always.
They give me the week off, so I try to stay as far away from that place as I possibly can. But hey, man, if you're back up here next year, man, let's grab lunch or dinner or something.
Dude, it's always a trip for me that I've got to make. I tell people it's probably, and I've never been to like a college football national championship, obviously, because the SEC hasn't been in one or anything like that. But it's the coolest event I've ever been to. Period. It's just it's one of those few things, man, where like the only other thing I can equate it to, and it's a little bit different, but the Masters, and I'm a huge golf guy as well, but like when you go to the Masters, everybody's there for the same reason because they all, no matter what your interest level is, they appreciate the game and they have a respect for the game. And I feel like when you're at the College World Series, obviously it's a big party, but everybody loves baseball, has great respect for baseball, great respect for the event. Everybody's there for the same reason. So it's a bucket list if you've never been, for sure.
See, I'd be at Augusta for the Pomoni cheese sandwiches. Dan would be there for the
It doesn't hurt. Yeah, listen, cheap beverages, cheap concessions don't hurt either.
Hey, you mentioned the national championship draw, but I want to talk about the SEC championship for a minute because I honestly had to like scratch my head and think about who the last two SEC champions have been. It's been Georgia, and it kind of seems like the talking points around the Southeastern Conference from football standpoint has been Kalen DeBoer in Tuscaloosa. What's going on with Lane Kiffin and where's he going to be next year? Every year when he was in the Grove, but it just kind of feels like there hasn't been much talked about Kirby Smart's program. Do you think that's just because he's been so consistently good, he doesn't necessarily draw the national conversation that he used to?
Yeah, Jimmy, I was actually, funny enough, having this conversation today with a friend of mine, and I think you're on to something from the standpoint of, it isn't the roller coaster. It's not great for headlines and clicks, and it's not super entertaining because it is lather, rinse, repeat. Like, it's almost like when you're so consistent, it becomes such an afterthought of like, oh, yeah, well, of course, Georgia's going to be there, which makes them feel very underrated. I felt this way last year, too, where it was Texas was getting a lot of the hype and a lot of the conversation. And for whatever reason, it felt like we weren't talking about Georgia a ton. That's kind of the same feeling going into this season, although I think the Dogs are getting a little bit more love. I think folks, at least from what I've picked up on at this point in the conversation, as we're still a ways away from kickoff. But from what I've picked up, I think people are realizing and recognizing Georgia is one of the SEC's best shot to not just certainly win the SEC, but win the whole darn thing.
Sure.
Texas always gets a lot of love because of the logo and the brand, and they've got Arch Manning. Obviously, you have the name and the star power, and obviously it's a Lane Kiffin at LSU. It moves the needle, big headlines, and Oklahoma's a big brand and just joined the league a couple of years ago, went to the playoff. Kalen DeBoer, like you mentioned, some of the storylines, and then it's just like, oh yeah, Georgia. There's nothing. You don't get too high, you don't get too low. They're just kind of always there, and you know what to get. And it's almost like sometimes you can just sort of take it for granted. You know what I mean? Sure. And I think that makes you not an afterthought, but yeah, we don't have to spend a lot of time on the Dogs. We know they're going to be there, ho-hum. The only question, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, if you will, is the feeling of the conversation. But I tell you, we did our deep dive on Georgia this week.
They're going to be good.
Buddy, they're stacked. I mean, it's you hate to say that it's Georgia and Texas and then everybody else, but I feel confident in saying it's Georgia and somebody and everybody else, even if you don't want to include Texas.
You mentioned Arch Manning a minute ago, and I want to get to him in a second, but I want to stay with Kirby Smart for a second because it's kind of hard to debate the turnaround and the jump and the success that Curt Cignetti has had in Bloomington. Is it fair to say it's not even questionable that if he's not number one, Kirby Smart's the second best head football coach in the country?
I think absolutely. And I think there's an argument still to be made that Kirby Smart is the best head football coach in the country. Now, I think you're going to give a lot of credit to what Curt Cignetti has done and, over the last 2 years, couple years, and you talk about building a program, taking a program in Indiana that had never really won anything, right? And they go to the playoff the first year and obviously win the Natty the second. I mean, it's just one of the greatest turnarounds, I think, in the history of college football. So, if we want to scream at each other and debate that until we're blue in the face, so be it. But 1A, 1B, yeah, Kirby Smart, he's either one or two. He doesn't fall below that. I think the better debate is probably who's number 3 at this point. I think it's those two guys in a class of their own. And like I said, I think there's a case to be made for both of them.
We don't need to debate it. I've been screaming at Dan about it since Tuesday. So
listen, they're going to call me SEC bias if I go Kirby anyways. I mean, what's the point?
Dan didn't think he was number 2, and that turned a whole segment into something else that we weren't talking about. So, obviously, you mentioned Arch Manning a minute ago. You had a closer view to him in the SEC than we did up here last year. Was it as simple as there was a learning curve we didn't necessarily expect because of his pedigree? Were the expectations too high for his first season? Or do you think he was right where he should have been from a performance standpoint in Austin last year?
Well, and I think it was a mixture of a couple things, right? Multiple things can be true at once. So, I was actually at the game. I was actually at the season opener against Ohio State, and I was at the game in the Swamp a couple weeks later when they went down there. And it's funny enough, at some point in the season, I had Texas fans telling me, please don't come to another Texas game because every time you come, we lose. Sure enough, I go to the Red River Shootout a couple weeks later. They win that one, and I guess the hex was gone, if you will. But no, I think really, like I said, I think it was a mix of some of the things you said. Number one, the expectations were crazy. And I think that might actually help Arch this year where it's like the expectations are still high. But, I mean, you remember last year, they were astronomical. We were talking about a kid winning the Heisman Trophy for a guy that really had never taken a meaningful snap before, right? Which it felt so ridiculous at times, the way that the expectations were lauded on this kid without anything proven. I understand the name and what comes with that. And everybody wanted to put it on him. And yes, he played better football down the stretch, right? I mean, last 5 games, I think he had 11 touchdowns, just 1 interception, 4 rushing touchdowns. We all remember how he played in the bowl game against Michigan. I think it speaks for itself, but it wasn't all on him, Jimmy. I mean, his offensive line was abysmal. I mean, I remember being at that Florida game, and he was running for his life. And you have a young quarterback who's inexperienced. You look at game 1 against Ohio State that I was at. Give Ohio State credit. That was an absolute master class by Matt Patricia, a guy who knows a thing or two about coaching defense. And Arch Manning was seeing ghosts out there. But again, he wasn't getting a lot of help from his offensive front. They got bullied at times. So I think as you saw them get later in the season, I know obviously the Georgia game went how it went. They got beat up physically. But after that, Texas started to play a little bit better on the offensive line. They started to run the football a little bit better. And in turn, he started to play a lot better. So there's no excuses for Arch Manning this year, of course, and the quarterback gets all the credit, all the blame. But it starts up front for them. If they're better up front, his numbers are going to take care of themselves. And certainly with the weapons they added, a guy like Cam Coleman from Auburn, Hollywood Smothers, who they added in to shore up the running game. You look at some of the other offensive weapons. I mean, it is an abundance of riches for Arch Manning. He should be set up to live up to, I don't know if you want to set the bar at Heisman or, all conference or what have you, but he should be set up and is set up, I think, to put up some monster numbers. But it was a number of different things last year. And I think he got I won't say an unfair amount of criticism, but I think if you dig a little bit deeper, you realize it wasn't just all him.
Well, let's talk about the other quarterback in that Red River rivalry for a second, because he's probably the guy that had a closer shot at winning the Heisman last year before he got hurt in John Mateer. What are your expectations for him in that Oklahoma offense with him coming back for another year, but coming off the injury?
Yeah, I'm high on John Mateer, and I think I'm higher than some others. Yeah, you mentioned the thumb injury. Crazy enough stat, pre-injury to post-injury. Post-injury, Oklahoma did not exceed 400 yards of total offense in a single game. And this injury happened, end of September? So, I mean, it was pretty early on in the season. There's a large sample size there. They're another one where the offensive line and the run game's got to be better. He was the focal point of the rushing attack last year. And I think certainly he's got to be again. I think even if they're slightly better in the running attack, he's still going to need to be a big part because that's part of his game, right? You can't take that away. But I've been fascinated by the turnaround, Jimmy, admittedly, on people that last year I saw that were proclaiming John Mateer, this electric playmaker who's going to be in New York. There were predictions for him to win the Heisman. Some of those same people making a 180 on him, saying that he's just no good. And listen, the thing he's got to improve most is the decision-making. There were at times he was a bad decision-maker. I was at that, like I said, Red River Shootout game, and yes, the thumb injury. The thumb injury doesn't necessarily make you throw in a triple coverage. There were times where he made some boneheaded decisions and made some boneheaded mistakes. If he can raise the floor, limit the turnovers, which, a guy like that, maybe that's just how he plays, although I think you can put an emphasis on that and make it a priority and still play with some reckless abandon, if you will, while also being smart in doing so, right? I think if he can do that, I do expect John Mateer. I think it's unfair to expect other quarterbacks to say, hey, from last year to this year, they're going to take a step forward. Well, why wouldn't John Mateer do the same, especially if his offensive line and his running game, which it should be, especially if that's better, that should take some pressure off him.
You see, I was the opposite of that equation. I was out on John Mateer before the season, and I felt at the end of the season, I felt a lot better about him than I did before the season.
He's a playmaker. I mean, there's no doubt he's a playmaker. Just got to limit the turnovers.
And we're catching up with Chris Phillips from the SEC Unfiltered here on After Hours. Not to make this the quarterback conversation, but how do you think the quarterback conversation shakes out in Tuscaloosa?
I think it's Keelan Russell. I do. I think that, and this goes beyond but just what we saw in the spring game. I know a lot of people obviously looked at that and said, there's no doubt it's got to be Keelan. And take what you see in a spring game with a grain of salt, right? I mean, from what I was hearing, interestingly enough, in the spring, that it was neck and neck between he and Austin Mack, maybe even to a point where Austin Mack had the lead. Now, listen, anything can happen, especially when you have a guy in Austin Mack that was there at Washington with Kalen DeBoer. There's a lot of familiarity. But I would say this, Jimmy, and I'd say this about a couple of the quarterback battles in the SEC. If it's close, or certainly if it's even, you got to go with the younger guy who's more talented. And I think Keelan Russell's a guy that there's no other quarterback on that roster that has the ability and has the talent and can do what he can do in the way he can change the game. Now, it's always scary when you're going with a youngster. I totally get it. The good news for Alabama is the way the schedule, I think, sets up for them at the beginning. East Carolina out the gate, at Kentucky, Florida State, South Carolina, at Mississippi State. Now, I understand, listen, South Carolina they've struggled with. At Mississippi State, who knows? Davis Wade, the Cowbells, could it get a little sideways? Even at Kentucky with Will Grier, and then Florida State beat you last year. I get it, but Alabama's the supremely talented team compared to those 5 teams, obviously. So it should be a pretty good start to the season to really evaluate and see what you have. But I think it's Keelan Russell. If I had to bet on it today, I think Keelan, I think he trots out there against East Carolina as QB1, and unless he loses the job, I think it's his throughout the season.
The guy that was drawing a lot of attention in the SEC from the quarterback position that wasn't Arch Manning last year was Lenoris Sellers. What are your expectations for him? You mentioned South Carolina a minute ago. What are your expectations for him in the Gamecocks this season?
Well, Jimmy, it can't get much worse, can it? Yeah. I mean, 4-8,
did not meet expectations last year.
No, not at all. I mean, I remember last year, Jimmy, I picked South Carolina before the season to go 7-5. And I was called a hater and every name under the sun by South Carolina fans. And sure enough, the rest is history. So, listen, Lenoris Sellers is a guy, I'm going to drop my quarterback rankings next week. And at end of season last year, I had him 11th or 12th or obviously near the bottom, right? And he didn't play good football, but it was so many things beyond him. I mean, he was the most sacked quarterback, I believe, or maybe the second most sacks in the SEC. But either way, way too many sacks. They were dead last in rushing, essentially. Mike Shula couldn't coach out of a paper bag. Now you bring in Kendall Briles, who led a 9-win season on the offense at Arkansas, was pretty creative and did some nice things at TCU. I think they've got to get back to, obviously, his bread and butter and letting Lenoris Sellers improvise and make plays and be an athlete. And, it's kind of like John Mateer, like to get all that good, you got to maybe live with some of the bad, but you can't go as so far as to overthink this thing and try to put him in a box and put him in a bubble and take away what makes him him. You took Superman's cape, essentially. You took Batman's mask last year if you're Mike Shula because they wanted him stay in the pocket, work from the pocket. That's not what Lenoris Sellers does. So I think they're going to get back to let it all hang, let it loose. I've got to imagine that was the goal and objective when they hired Kendall Briles. They've got Nick Harbor back on the outside, who is an absolute freak. They need some other guys to step up on the outside at wide receiver. Most of all, they need the offensive line to be worth a darn. I mean, they don't even have to just be average. Even if you're slightly below average, that's a significant improvement off what you were last year. So I do think Lenoris Sellers is going to be better. I mean, even last year, there were times, Jimmy, where I was at the Missouri-South Carolina game in Como, and God, he put his Superman cape on for that game to try to win it for him through the air, you might recall. I mean, he made some crazy throws down the field, just doing everything he could. And, of course, the Gamecocks end up losing that football game. But I do think he's going to be better. I'm more so question the rest of the team around him.
You mentioned Missouri a minute ago. They're basically overhauling that whole roster. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got one of the most sought after younger coaches in the country, and Eli Drinkwitz. What are your expectations for out of Columbia this year? And they've got to be low just for that reason, right?
Well, 0 returning starters on the defensive side. That's the one that really jumps out. Now they've got guys that have played. Don't get me wrong, but still, I mean, that number's glaring, right? I know we're in a day and age of what do returning starters mean, right? Everybody's coming from the portal. I get it, but still that one jumped out to me. Corey Batoon, I think, got his work cut out for him, the defensive coordinator there at Mizzou. I am excited about Austin Simmons at quarterback. He was the guy at Ole Miss that I was really high on, and maybe it was me giving the benefit of the doubt to Lane Kiffin and what he's been able to do with quarterbacks, but I really thought he was the next up for Lane. It was going to be an all-conference player, be right up near the top of leading the SEC in passing. And obviously some poor play and the injury, certainly it opened the door for Trinidad Chambliss, and the rest is history. So I think if good Austin Simmons can show up, they do have a new play caller there in Como, which I think is really interesting. What's the status of Ahmad Hardy? If I could learn one thing, Jimmy, from SEC Media Days next week, I want Eli Drinkwitz to get up at the podium and give me some sort of an idea, but I'll even give him some credit and some grace. What's the timetable recovery for recovering from a gunshot wound? I mean, I don't think any of us really know what that looks like. So, Jamal Roberts is a fantastic player behind him at running back. He does some special things too, but Ahmad Hardy obviously is the straw that stirs that drink. Jimmy, I will admit to you, we'll start dropping game-by-game predictions next week, and they were a team that I was stunned how low I was on them from the standpoint of I think they're going to be a fringe bowl team, potentially even missing a bowl game, which just goes so against what they've been over the last couple of years. It almost feels like Eli Drinkwitz has really risen that floor, but somebody's going to – that's the tough thing, Jimmy, about making predictions. And people are going to get upset and mad. They do every year at picks. Somebody's got to regress, though, because not everybody can go 8-4. Mizzou feels like one of those most likely candidates.
Yeah, listen, we just had Brian McIntyre, Terrence Crawford's head trainer, on our show earlier, and Terrence Crawford got shot in the head and drove himself to the hospital once. So our idea on how quickly you can recover from a gunshot wound is a little skewed up here in Omaha. Hey, before we get to the obvious question about you mentioned coaching a minute ago and the obvious coaching change in the SEC, I want to talk about an assistant change. Jim Knowles takes over the defense at Tennessee. It obviously didn't go the way they would have loved for it to go in Happy Valley when he got there after leaving Ohio State. You've got that head coach calling the plays on the offense in Heupel. You've got that defensive coach calling the defense from the coordinator standpoint. Tennessee's got to be in the equation to possibly win this thing just based on coaching, right?
You would think so. There's a lot of mixed emotions in Knoxville right now from the standpoint of there's pessimism, there's optimism. I mean, we can talk about hot seats, and I think Josh Heupel is probably on the third hottest seat in the conference behind Jeff Levy and Shane Beamer, just from a standpoint of what are they going into year 6 of Heupel, and that once you get to the playoff, 8-4, just we are no longer in an era where 8-4 satisfies any fan base, much less one in Tennessee where all they want is it for it to be 98, right? That's all they ever want. So
that's how they exited the playoff too.
Indeed, right? Yeah, and the way it happened against Ohio State. So yes, number one, I love the addition of Jim Knowles. I think with all due respect to him, it's a major upgrade from Tim Banks, who Tennessee fans were trying to get out of there for years. But
really,
they have
anywhere.
yeah. They have questions at edge rusher, especially after the Chaz Coleman thing happened, which was really unfortunate. Arion Carter back at linebacker is big. Questions to answer in the secondary. But again, you have Jim Knowles. So I think the defense, which was a liability last year, can at least hold serve. I think the big question is quarterback for them. Offensive line, some questions to answer as well, but you got a 1,000-yard rusher back into Sean Bishop. Right. You got a couple of high-quality wide receivers on the outside, Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley, who I think more can pick up where Chaz Brazel left off. Is it George McIntyre or is it Faison Brandon? And this is another one, Jimmy, where similar to Keelan Russell and Austin Mack, even different though, because, George McIntyre, he's been in college a year, but I wouldn't necessarily say he has playing experience. You got GMAC, who maybe has got a year in the system, but you got a Faison Brandon who extremely talented, was one of the highest rated quarterback prospects when he signed. Do they go with the youngster or do they go with GMAC? I tend to think they probably lean and go with Faison Brandon, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we get a little hint next week at SEC Media Days. Listen, I think I'm higher on Tennessee than most, Jimmy, and I've got them going 8-4. So I would tell you this. Most people are down on Tennessee. Most people are expecting Tennessee to revert back to a 7-5, maybe 6-6. And I think if we get into 6-6 territory, believe it or not, I think we could see a change in Knoxville. I think folks in Knoxville are going restless. Now, I wouldn't do it. I think Heupel's done a really good job there. And I think if you start a freshman quarterback, you have to temper the expectations somewhat. A freshman quarterback is still a freshman quarterback. I don't care what era of college football we're in, right? You're going to go through growing pains. But good luck telling it to the people in Knoxville, because all they're thinking is back to the playoff, back to the playoff. Heck, I went to the Music City Bowl last year when Tennessee played Illinois, and I had a Tennessee buddy, and I was asking him, hey, are you going to the bowl game? He said, absolutely not. I came into this season with playoff or bust expectations. I didn't come into it to go to the Music City Bowl. So that tells you where Tennessee fans are at. It's a big year for Josh Heupel, no question.
I hate to shorten this up because we're up against it, but because this conversation's been so great. But shortened answer: long-term, short-term effect of Lane Kiffin being the new coach in Baton Rouge.
I mean, short-term chaos and headlines galore for us. A lot of great content. I don't think LSU's a playoff team this year. I think they're an 8 or 9 win team just on the outside looking in. Long-term, it's hard to guarantee a national championship. But 2 things I'll guarantee. 1, I think he gets LSU to the playoff. 2, whether it's year 4, year 5, year 6, year 7, whether it's after a natty, 2, 3, whatever, it'll crash and burn at some point, and there'll be an ugly exit because it's Lane Kiffin. Of course there will be.
Hey, man, I really appreciate this. Let's catch up before kickoff happens. We'll get your thoughts on SEC Media Days, and we'll let you predict the SEC slate as well.
Yeah, Jimmy Dan, anytime. Really appreciate it. Always a pleasure, guys. Y'all keep up the good work.
That's Chris Phillips at SEC Unfiltered. Follow him and the network on Twitter tonight. If you missed any of the show, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. Tonight is brought to you by Williams Law. Get a free, no-obligation legal consultation from Bob and his team for any legal issues facing you or your family tonight. For Dan Campbell, I've been Jimmy Allen. Happy National Artificial Intelligence Day, everybody.
Wedding season's here, and Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear has been trusted for over 50 years to help you look your best. Whether you're the groom or part of the wedding party, Jerry Ryan can outfit every man in the wedding from head to toe. From custom suits and sport coats to dress shirts, shoes, and accessories, their experienced team will help make sure everyone looks their absolute